Hello, my name is Sarah, and I'm going to go through a short beginner's sequence. This should be about 30 minutes, and we'll go really slow. We'll go over some common poses you come across in yoga classes, and I'll really break things down. The other thing this class is going to do is we won't do a lot of heavy stuff on the wrists. So I'll teach modifications if you do have any wrist pain, and there also won't be a lot on the arms. All right, let's get started. So come to laying down on your back, and if your back hurts, if you stretch your legs out like this and your back hurts, bend the knees, plant the feet on the floor, pigeon toe the feet, and then rest the knees against each other. And this could be called the sacrum stabilizer, because the weight of your femur bones is moving down into the pelvis, and your sacrum, the diamond-shaped bone in between the two halves of the pelvis, is gaining the effect of this mild, even pressure. And so sometimes if you experience low back pain, you come into this pose and it feels a little better. Or, if your sacrum, if your really low back hurts when you walk, I found that laying in this for a while can help me. So this is an option to start. Allow your eyes to soften, gently closed. And now bring both of your hands onto your stomach. Inhale so deeply that you feel your abdomen rising under the hands. And as you exhale, feel the abdomen soften back down. Give yourself 5 more breaths like this. Breathe into the lowest part of your lungs. When you were an infant, this is how you breathe. When you took an inhale, your belly was free to open up. And then when you exhaled, your belly softened back down. This may be a good breath to do if you're feeling stressed. This is one way to breathe in yoga, right? Belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, Buddha belly breath. When we get into more active poses, you might be asked to tone your abdominals in, so then the breath has to go more to the rib cage. So bring both of your hands from your stomach up onto the rib cage. Inhale, breathe out into your hands, open up your ribs. And as you exhale, feel the ribs draw back in. Give yourself 5 more breaths. Breathe out into the hands. As you inhale, feel the rib cage opening up. As you exhale, feel the ribs soften back down. Breathe so deeply, you can also feel your back ribs moving. All the breathing in yoga is done in and out of the nose, because the nasal passage is lined with a sensitive tissue that when the air passes it, it helps to relax the nervous system. If your only choice is to breathe through your mouth, that's okay. Just take very calm breaths rather than panting. On your next exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Put one knee in each hand and draw some circles in the air with your knees. Feel your lower back getting a massage against the floor. And now switch directions, and notice by switching directions, Does it change the way this feels in your body, or does it feel about the same? Catch under your legs and rock up and down the spine. Sometimes this hurts the back, to rock up and down the spine like this. So if this hurts your back, don't do it. Just roll to one side and use your arm strength to press yourself up. Otherwise, you rock up, and then once you're sitting up, swing your legs behind you and come into all fours position, tabletop. In tabletop pose, your wrist, your elbow, and your shoulder are all stacked. You separate your knees so that they're underneath your hip joints. Spread your fingers wide and anchor into your hands. Press the palms flat. Now, if this is sensitive for your wrist to be in this pose, you can make a fist and put the knuckles on the floor with the thumbs tucked in. This will straighten out the wrist. If this still feels like a lot of pressure, you can do this on your forearms. Cat-cow cycles. Lift your tailbone, lift the chest up between the arms. A lot of times what I see is people sort of are slouching, so really push the floor away. So you're lifting the chest and broadening the chest. The collarbone's nice and wide. And personally, I like to look up, so I stretch my throat open. But for some people, the neck feels really sensitive. So don't worry, you can look towards the floor and it's still a great pose. Cat spine. Curl your tailbone under. Press the floor away. If it's okay with your head, relax the neck completely. Sometimes you can push so hard into your hands that you feel a stretch under your shoulder blades. Now linking it with the breath. Inhale, back bend cow. Exhale, forward round cat. Inhale, back bend cow. Exhale, forward round cat. Give yourself 3 more cycles. Follow your own breath. So for the length of the inhale, you're back bending. You're full of air at the peak of the back bend. And for the length of the exhale, you're rounding forward. You're empty of air at the peak of the forward bend. 1 more cycle. Lengthen out your spine and spin the hands out so your fingertips are pointing away from each other. This might be a deep enough stretch for your wrist, or turn the fingers back towards your knees so the inner wrist is pointing forward and you can feel a nice stretch in the forearms. Some of you stay here, it's intense. Others of you, inhale, back bend. Exhale, forward round. 2 more. Deep inhale, full lungs. Long exhale, empty the lungs. 1 more cycle. Okay, spin the hands back around. Curl your toes under and send the weight back towards your feet. If this hurts your knees, don't go that far. If it feels okay, then you sit all the way back towards your heels and you can feel a stretch under your toes. From here, push really firmly into your hands, lift the hips up, down dog pose. Bend your right knee, bend the left knee. Keep going, bend the right knee and bend the left knee. Bend both knees, push the floor away, lift the hips as high as they can go in the air. Walk your hands to the back of the mat, forward fold. If your spine hurts in this pose, bend the knees and put your forearms on your thighs like you were making a plan to do something, like a huddle. If this feels okay on the body, catch hold of opposite elbows. Bend the knees and gently shake the head to relax your neck. Hold on to the other elbow so that you have the non-dominant grip, and it's going to feel awkward, but it's part of it. Feeling awkward, and you relax into it. Take a deep breath. Rest the arms down and start to walk your hands up your shin bones, up maybe up to the thighs, right? This is halfway lift pose. So your torso is parallel to the floor, something like that. Draw the shoulder blades towards each other to stretch open the chest. Pull the abdominal muscles in so you feel like your back is supported by a front side strength. Take an inhale. Exhale, fold over the legs. 2 more times. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale, lower. And then on your next inhale, little bend in the knees, lift the spine up, reach your arms up over your head, and bring your hands palm against palm to the center of your chest. And take a moment just to observe, how does your body feel different after the cat-cows, the down dog, the forward fold position, right? There's this different feeling circulating the body. Personally, I'm getting hot, so I'll take off my sweater. All right, what's next? Standing salutations. First is Tadasana, mountain pose. Have an equal pressure through your feet. So the heels and the balls of the feet are equally weighted. Line up the centers of your heels with the first, or the big toe, second toe, third toe, something like that. The centers of the feet are pointing forward. Contract your thighs. Pull your lower abdominals in. Brighten the chest towards the ceiling. Feel the top of the head reaching up. So basically, imagine that somebody was measuring you and it was going to be on your driver's license. So you're like, I'm going to get as tall as I can. And that's Tadasana. You lift the bones up to the sky. Now when you reach your arms up over your head, the arms can go forward and up. Or if you had the space, you could circle the arms sideways and up over your head. So feel free to do one style or both. They're both correct. When you reach the arms up over your head, you can go straight up with the spine, or if you want to invite a gentle back bend, lift the chest and stretch back. Sometimes I see people jam the shoulders by the ears. Instead, feel a sense of softness around the sides of the neck. The arms are reaching up though, and the shoulder blades are lifted a little bit. Okay, take an inhale. Exhale, fold over the legs. I like bending my knees because it feels better on the hamstrings. Relax the neck. Now with the breath, vinyasa. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up, arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. As you inhale, stand up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. One more. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees and start to walk the hands forward. Notice when your heels want to lift off the floor. Downward facing dog. In down dog, you're making your body look like an upside down V shape. For some folks, the heels aren't going to touch the floor. That's not necessarily the goal of the pose, but if you want a deeper stretch, you start to push the heels towards the floor. How do you know how long to make a downward dog? Come forward into an upward push-up plank pose, and I don't know, you could probably see, right, my butt's kind of high, so I'm going to walk my toes back, butts in line with the shoulders, and then push the legs back, downward dog. So this is like my standard length. But personally, I like a little shorter dog, right? This is like the length that feels good to me. So feel free to play around with it. Some teachers are strict about it, and then other teachers will let you decide how long you want your dog, right? Some people like dachshunds. Some people like chihuahuas. So they're all good dogs. From here, bend the knees and walk up to the top of the mat, forward fold. You can also decide if you want your feet hips width or together. And if you're like, I don't know what I want, try both, right? So feet together moves the femur bones in for some bodies. So, right, if you have wider hips, like sometimes women, we want the feet a little wider, maybe, because it feels better in the hip joints. But feel free to just adjust for your body, right? Everybody's different, and it's perfect. Okay, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Chair pose. Hips down and arms up. Now, this is where a lot of alignment comes in. So look down at your feet and make sure your feet are still pointing forward. Like a lot of times I see people's feet out or feet point in. So feet pointing straight forward. Same thing with the knees, right? The knees might buckle in or splay out. So keep the knees pointing forward right over the feet. And then right about now you're like, why am I still in this pose? And maybe you've come out. If it's possible, sit a little lower and stick with this inner heat for just 3 breaths. Look at one spot with your eyes. 2 more breaths. Breathe so deep you feel your rib cage move. 1 more breath. Okay, stand up tall. Take your right arm and put it alongside your right body. Lift up through your left arm and lean over to the right. Now you have to check your own alignment. Your 2 hips are equidistant from the wall that's opposite you. 2 armpits equidistant from the wall. If you need a deeper stretch, lift up through your rib cage and move your hips over to the left. Take an inhale. Exhale back into center. Feel the difference between your sides. Stretch up through the right arm. Lean over to your left. Alignment in side bend is really simple. Keep the legs straight. Square your hips to the wall that's opposite you and square the chest to the wall that's opposite you. Only go as far as feels okay in your spine. If you ever feel a sharp shooting pain in yoga, come out. Maybe it could be described as painful when the muscles burn with effort. That's a good sign when you feel, that kind of healthy burning feeling. Like, for example, I feel a little bit in my lifted arm right now. Okay, so let's just take 1 more breath. Inhale, stretch, and exhale back in the center. You can bring both arms up and then float your arms to your low back. So we don't have any ribs, right? Maybe even you can feel it on yourself. You've got your bottom ribs. So put the hands right underneath there so your hands are going to act like ribs. Squeeze the elbows towards each other, lift the chest, and maybe lean back a little bit. If you feel pain in the spine, try to lift out of that painful spot. And then if you don't feel any pain in the spine, maybe it feels good to go back a little further. The head might go back. I'm bending my knees because it feels good. And then roll yourself up. Little head rush so you can bend the knees. Totally normal. Chair pose. Inhale. And exhale, fold over your legs. Yoga is a natural high with the breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Plank pose. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now let's talk about the alignment of down dog. One of the most common questions I get is, am I doing this right? Okay, so the first thing is your hands, spread the fingers equally apart. Pointers point forward, and then I'll get a little closer so you can see this. So a lot of times what I see is the arms will roll in like this, and I don't know if you can see, but it's very crunchy in my neck. So instead, you're going to broaden the shoulder blades on the back, wrap the outer upper arms back, and then you let the head be relaxed. Another thing I commonly see is I'll see people kind of dumping a lot of weight into the chest, right? And I don't know if you can see, but I'm in a back bend. So this isn't like the worst thing, but it can hurt some people's shoulders. So especially if you experience shoulder pain, lift out of the shoulders. So rather than dumping into the shoulders, Lift the forearms away from the floor. You're wrapping the outer upper arms back, and then you draw your front ribs in. Okay, this is a long time to be in downward dog when you're just starting out. So bend the knees and walk back up to the top of the mat. Hang, forward fold. Relax the arms. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up, arms up. Exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale, center. Exhale, hands to the low back. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, chair pose. Inhale, chair. And exhale, fold. Okay, now we'll get a little more complicated. Bend the knees deeply and step your right leg all the way to the back of the mat. Bring your back knee down to the floor, or if you want to pat it, the blanket. Now, if you feel a deep enough stretch through your hip, stay here. If you need a deeper stretch, lift the arms up over your head. If you feel pain in the low back, lift the hips away from the floor, lift the frontal hip bones so you're taking pressure off the low spine. Like you could probably see, right, my spine's a little longer versus bent, right? So abs in, front ribs in. But if it felt okay for your body, you have a little bit of strength, maybe you sink the hips down, pull the belly in, and reach back with the arms with straight elbows. When you straighten the elbows, sometimes shoulders crowd the ears, so you can relax them down. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands come to the floor. Twisting the spine. Press down into your right hand. Lift the left arm up and twist towards the front leg. If it's okay with the neck, look at the lifted hand. If you want to squeeze your back leg straight, go ahead. Take 2 more exhales. Shoulder blades on the back. 1 more breath. Float the hand down and step up to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair. Exhale, standing. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bend to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, hands to the low back. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, chair. Inhale, chair. And exhale, fold over your legs. Now, bend your knees. Step your left leg all the way to the back. Bring your knee down. So what might happen here too, if my stance is too short and I sink my pelvis down, my front heel lifts. So just kind of shimmy the toes up there. So you lengthen the stance. You separate the legs further away from each other. If your back knee hurts, just put something underneath it, like a towel, something cushy. Pillow, something like that's totally fine. If your low spine hurts, come out of the lunge. Scissor the inner groin so the pelvis is level. Pull your abdominal muscles in so the spine gets taller. Stretching the arms up. Circle the palms to face the wall behind you. If it feels good on the body, pelvis sinks down, heart goes up, maybe the palms touch. Take an inhale. Exhale, float the hands down. Press down and reach up through your right arm. So twist towards the front leg. And this is going to help give you a really deep stretch through the muscles that are around the rib cage and the right and left side of your spine. Maybe you want to squeeze the back leg straight. If it's okay with the neck, look at the lifted thumb. Take an inhale. Exhale, hand comes down. Step up to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, stand up. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, side bend right. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale, center. And this time exhale, hands to the heart. Okay, step sideways on your mat. Have your legs if you're going to measure it, you separate the arms and draw an imaginary line from your wrist to your ankle. So that's about as wide as you make the legs. If you want them more narrow, go for it. From deep in your hip socket, push into your right foot and turn your right toes so that they point towards the wall that's, to your side right now. And bend your knee. So right now I'm in a warrior two, and this is a heel to heel alignment, meaning my two heels, if you were going to draw a line, they would be on the same line. However, if I heel toe my front foot a little bit over, I can do a heel to arch alignment, meaning that my front heel is in line with my back arch. In warrior two, you can do either. So if you're not sure which one to try both of them. And it's like, which one feels better in my hips, right? And what I see commonly in warrior two, though, is the front knee bowing in like this. And this is usually because I'm trying to square my pelvis side. So don't worry about squaring the pelvis side. Let your pelvis be at a natural angle and your front inner thigh goes straight forward. If you want to square anything, you can kind of square your chest towards the wall that your face is now facing. This is a lot of time in this pose. Catch the hips, squeeze the front leg straight, turn your entire leg in. From deep in the hip socket, push and rotate your entire left leg out. And then you can also look at your foot, and your heel is in line with second and third toe. Then peek and look at the heels. Right now I'm in a heel to heel alignment. I'll go ahead and keep it, bend the knee, warrior two pose. Another thing I commonly see is if the stance is too short like this, the knee is going to go past the ankle. So just scooch the toes up, and there'll be a point, like for me personally, my inner groin won't let me go any further than this because I feel like a good stretch. But for you, maybe it's like, oh my God, my front thigh is on fire, right? It's not going to let me go any further. So that's the limit of the pose, and it's good to find your limits because they keep you present. Like, if I go really easy up here and I can't really feel my body, then my mind's going to wander around. But if I start feeling the limits, then it's like, oh, okay. The breath helps too. Okay, give yourself one more breath in this pose. You can look at this side wall or over your front hand. And now catch your hips, squeeze the legs straight, and return back, legs separate. And we're going to do two more poses from here. So deep in the hip socket, turn your entire right leg out. So the heel's in line with second and third toe. Toes are pointing straight forward. For a moment, come into warrior two, just so you remember it. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, squeeze the legs straight again. So this stance that I have right now would work for triangle. If you have a really long stance, kind of like this, probably heel toe your back foot up so it's more stable. Start to reach forward, and you'll begin to feel a stretch in the back of the leg, back of the right leg, and then just hover the arms. So this is a triangle pose without the use of props. If you notice that your front knee is doing what mine's doing, like locking out like this, take a mini bend in the knee. So it's almost imperceptible, right? But then when you look at it, it isn't jamming back. It's supported by a little bit of strength. And now I feel my hamstring is engaged a little bit in some strength. My thigh is engaged in some strength, and definitely my stomach. Okay, take an inhale. Exhale, come up. Little bend in the knee, spin the leg in. Spin your entire left leg out. Just so you remember where it is, warrior two pose. And now I shorten my stance, so I gotta go into it for a moment. Inhale. Exhale, leg goes straight. If you want to rest the arms, hold on to your hips. Heel toe the back foot up. Spread the arms again. Start to reach forward. Okay, I feel a stretch there, so I'm going to tip the arms. A lot of times what I'll see is people will try to touch the floor here, but you can see I'm hunching forward. So instead, go a little bit higher on the leg so that your torso is really long. Your chest is really open, so you're alert, you're present to what's happening around you in this particular pose. This is a very wide open pose. Take a breath. Okay. Push into the legs, come up, catch hold of your hips, turn your entire leg in. Now when you look at your heels, have your two heels on the same line. Hold on to your hips. Inhale, lift the chest, and as you exhale, hinge the pelvis, stretch forward, and touch the floor. Now if you're like, I can't touch the floor, if you feel an inner groin stretch, stay where you are. If you don't feel an inner groin stretch and you can't touch the floor, separate the legs. So it's okay to feel an inner groin stretch in this pose. You're going to feel a hamstring stretch probably. And then also as you hang the body down, you'll feel maybe a low back stretch. Now if you're like me and the head is touching the floor really easily, you're going to heel toe the feet in, so then the head can dangle, and this is going to help to create a stretch down the backs of the legs. There's a lot of variation on arms in this pose, so you could keep your arms hands flat, elbows bending in towards each other. You can also interlace your hands behind you, squeeze shoulder blades in, start to stretch open the front of the chest. Take 3 long exhales. Float your hands to your low back, catch hold of your hips. Come up halfway, inhale, and then exhale the rest of the way up. Bend the knees a little bit and step your feet up to the top of the mat. And stand here for a moment in mountain pose. Your feet hips width or together, and feel the heat in your body. Maybe feel that sense of relief of coming out of those intense stretches. We're going to balance on one leg, and then we'll take it to the floor. Tree pose. Bring your hands to your heart. Look at one spot straight ahead of you. Take your right heel and bring it to your left ankle. So if one-legged balancing is hard for you, stay in this variation, and then just start to come up just onto your big toe, let's say, right? And then from there, you might hover the foot. When you lose your balance, you'll just set it down, and then you pick it up and try it again. If this feels pretty easy, you can put your foot on your calf muscle, and if you'd like the foot a little higher, put it on to your upper thigh. You can keep the hands of the heart or reach your arms up over your head. Arms go shoulders width apart, so you feel a sense of ease in the sides of the neck, the shoulders. Fingers are spinning back. Look at one spot, eye level. Breathe just like in the beginning of the practice when you let your rib cage open up under your hands. Well, let's stay here a little longer. Let's stay for 5 more breaths. Float the hands to the center of your chest and set the foot down. Take a moment and feel the difference between your legs. Like for me, my left foot feels a little hotter than the right foot. Okay, let's do the other side. So left heel touches right ankle, and then you can come up onto the tiptoe, and the foot can go to the calf or your upper thigh. So what I see commonly here is that the foot, it's like you're pushing it into the knee joint, right? And so this is kind of dangerous for your knee. So you can put your foot above or below the knee joint, but don't put the foot on the knee joint. Another thing I see here too is sometimes we bend and we begin to collapse. So you might fall out when you do this, but don't be shy to fall out. It's kind of nice because you're practicing at home. So if you fall out, right, nobody's going to see you. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody sees it, does it really fall? Pull the abdominal muscles in, lift the spine up, and then the arms can continue this journey. You know, if this is very easy for you, you can look up towards the ceiling. You can do it with your eyes closed. 5 breaths. Breathe in a way that feels good for your body. Toe tip to fingertip awareness, full body awareness. Float the hands down to the center of the chest. Bring the legs center, set the foot down. Feel the difference between the legs, right? There's a feeling difference. All right, and then turn so that you're, facing the short end of your mat. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step back into plank pose. Lower your knees to the floor. Now, if you're currently pregnant, instead of doing what's next, you're going to stay in this all fours position, and you can do oppositional arm and leg lifts if you want to do a strengthening thing. If not, you can separate your feet, separate your knees and rest in child's pose. But otherwise, we're going to lower down onto the belly. Feel free to not use the knees, but I'll teach it on the knees. So shoulders can go past the wrist, bend the elbows backwards by the rib cage. This is the introduction to chaturanga, the lower push-up. Elbows are back, chest forward, and you lower onto your stomach. Rest the forehead on the floor and point your toes behind you. Squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other and lift up into low cobra. So you can feel the right and left side of your spinal muscles getting stronger. So let's stay here for 5 breaths. Look at your cheeks. 4 more breaths. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. 3 more breaths. Press your pubic bone into the floor. 2 more breaths. Take 1 more fresh breath. Lower yourself down. You can either look to the right, relax your arms back by your sides, big toes touch, heels peel apart, rest in Shavasana, 2 long breaths. Okay, 1 more back bend. Flip your palms to face down, chin or forehead to the floor, lift the chest up, and then maybe lift the legs if it's okay with your back. And when you lift the legs, if it doesn't hurt your spine, try to lift the legs so you feel your hamstrings getting stronger and your glutes getting stronger. Some of you lift the arms up, interlace the hands, and then if you feel like that's your habitual grip, switch the interlace so it's non-habitual grip. Draw the shoulder blades in and feel the right and left side of the spinal muscles getting stronger. Part of you wants to give up, so if this feels like you're just tired and annoyed, stay and breathe. 3 breaths. If you're hurting yourself, then come out. Okay, 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. All right, lower down. Ah, what a relief. Give yourself 2 deep breaths. You can look to the left. Breathe into your belly like in the beginning of the class. You'll feel your low back relax. Okay, last bit of effort. This isn't going to be pleasant, but it'll make you stronger. Catch hold of opposite elbows. Interlace your hands into a fist. Scoop the tailbone under and come into a forearm plank. So forearm plank on the knees. The elbows are under your shoulders, pushing the floor away so you're lifting up out of the shoulder joints. Like a lot of times when I see people do this, they're kind of sinking into the shoulders, right? To really push the floor away, create space in the shoulder joint. The other thing I see here is people sag the low back. Scoop it under so you're really tightening your abdominal muscles. And those of you, you're like, this is easy, I don't feel anything. Squeeze the legs straight. And then those of you that are like, oh, this is still easy, do it on the tops of your feet. I don't really want to hold this that long, but it's a really healthy, good pose. So let's do 5 breaths. Look at one spot between the forearms. For 4, push the floor away. 3, 2, give yourself one more breath. And now soften the knees to the floor. Sit back at the heels and rest in child's pose. If this pose hurts your back, then come to laying on your back. Or if it hurts your knees, right, you can lay on your back with your knees hugging into the chest. If it feels okay on your body, you can do child's pose with your knees together, or you can do it with the knees separate. Arms can be out in front of you, or you can bring them back by your sides. Take a breath that's so deep you feel it moving your back waist. All right, walk yourself up. You can cross the ankles underneath you. You can swing your legs around the side. Come to laying on your back. We're almost done. Figure 4 pose. Cross your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. This might be a deep enough stretch for you. If it feels okay, then you can lift the left knee towards you, interlace the hands underneath your left leg. Flex through your right foot. Hug the leg. Left leg goes towards you. 5 breaths. When you breathe long and deep, it relaxes your nervous system. And when you relax your nervous system, the muscles will relax. Switching sides, bend the knees into the chest. Feel any difference in the outer hips. Cross your left ankle over the top of the right thigh. Reach underneath your right leg. Flex the foot. And take 5 slow breaths. Concentrate so deeply on your breath that it clears your mind. Bend both knees into your chest. Place your feet on the floor and flex the right leg up. What you're looking for is a hamstring stretch. So you can hold on to your leg, or if you feel a stretch not holding on to the leg, don't hold on to it. If it's easy for the body, you can catch hold of your ankle. 5 breaths. Also, if this is easy, you can straighten the bottom leg. Bend the right knee, place the foot on the floor. Feel the differences between your legs. Flex the left leg up. If the hamstring feels tight, the knee will be bent and the leg will be in front of you and you'll be getting a stretch. If the hamstring feels open, you can interlace hands underneath your thigh, or you can hold on to your ankle or your foot. And then if it feels easy, squeeze the right leg straight. 5 breaths. Head pointing straight up, maybe close the eyes. Okay, bend both knees into your chest. Feel the difference between the legs. Hold on to your right shin bone. Left leg is long. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, move the right leg across your body. If you have sensitive shoulders, keep both of your shoulders on the floor. If the shoulders feel okay, maybe you just let the body hang. The shoulder and the knee lifted off the floor. If this twist is too intense on your body, then you can roll back and just find the degree of stretch that's okay with your body. If this is easy for the body, think about the chest moving in an opposite direction as the front of the pelvis. So the chest is going towards the ceiling and the pelvis is moving towards the floor. That would give you the deepest possible stretch. Take 3 long breaths. Your face can point in any direction. It'll change the stretch in your neck. Hug the right knee back into your armpit. Switch out legs. Left leg goes in, right leg goes out. Hold on to your left shin bone. Start to move your leg across the body. Remember, if you have sensitive shoulders, then just keep 2 shoulders on the floor and the knee will be pretty lifted off the mat. If it feels okay on your body, right, you can have the knee and the shoulder lifted. And then those of you that want that really deep stretch, try to get the pelvis towards the floor and the chest towards the ceiling. You can do this with your eyes open, just sort of taking in the space that you're in, the quality of light. Or you can close the eyes. Take 3 long breaths. Hug your knee back up into your armpit. Give the leg a squeeze. Bring both knees in. Soles of the feet touch. Knees butterfly open. Butterfly pose. You can hold on to your feet or you can rest the feet on the floor. Bring your left hand to your heartbeat and your right hand to the breath on the stomach. And just like in the beginning of the practice, feel the breath moving under your hand that's on your stomach. Relax your jaw. Bring your hands underneath the thighs and close the knees. Now you're back where you started. Pigeon toe the feet, rest the knees against each other, or extend the legs out straight. Arms can be by your sides or hands on the body. Final Shavasana, deep relaxation pose. This is one of the most important poses in the whole practice. This is the moment in your day where you can just lay here and do absolutely nothing. Surrender your bones into the floor and let the floor hold you. An act of surrender to uncertainty, a feeling of vulnerability that opens you up to receive love. Shavasana corpse pose is a trust that you're safe and you'll be taken care of. And even if you don't believe these things, if your mind has doubts, then just do the best that you can to surrender into the shape and just give yourself a break. You deserve it. If your tongue is on the roof of your mouth, let it relax down. You might even swallow to help ease your throat. Feel the tension that lives around the jaw, softening out of the jaw. Notice if the eyes or the eyebrows feel tense, let the eyes soften. There's nothing to look at. If you want to stay a little longer, please stay here as long as feels good and healing and nourishing to your body. When you're ready to come out, start by deepening the breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. You can take a big stretch, rolling onto one side. Take your time, come into a comfortable cross-legged seat. If when you sit cross-legged, if your knees really hike up like this, if you can, find a pillow and sit on top of it. You might be more comfortable on your knees and your back. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And take a moment to feel the difference in your body from before you started this practice until now. And take a moment and thank yourself for taking this time out of your day to practice yoga. Give yourself some credit. Give yourself a pat on the back. Sometimes we're really hard on ourselves, but if you made it to the end of this video, I'd say you're doing a pretty good job, because this is really hard to practice to YouTube videos. It takes a lot of discipline. And then we'll seal it in with a inhale through the nose and an exhale out the mouth. So deep inhale through your nose and sigh it out the mouth. Thank you, virtual yogis. We're getting through this coronavirus together. let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything that you want to see, any types of videos, and how if you are a beginner, or if you do experience like pains in the body when you practice yoga, please give me feedback on how this felt for you and how I can better serve you.